All right, what's up, my brothers from another mother? Got a request here from a guy that had gone through AA and wanted me to do a requested video topic on the subject of alcoholism, and I'm going to call it addiction more specifically. I'm going to tie it into a few other things as well that are also red pilled. Let me skip over a few things. He just says, thanks for the content. Looking forward to the book. Wanted to make a donation. Keep it brief. I'll probably do a before the train wreck at some point on the topic of addictions and alcoholism. He's offered time to discuss it, so might take you up on that offer. But his request here says, I won't go into length with my background other than I had severe issues with alcohol for 12 years. Arrests, job losses, DUI, family breakdown, poverty, daily drinking for 3 years, blah, blah, blah. This is all fairly common for people that go into AA. Usually they start to recognize at some point, like the whole thing with alcoholism is you can't deal with an addiction that you have until you recognize that you have the addiction. I tell guys the same thing when it comes to one night. It's like if you have an unhealthy relationship with one woman that has left you or abandoned you, for example, and you don't know how to deal with that, you have to understand that it is time to make that addiction your bitch, and you have to change your belief system. And that's what a lot of guys do with AA. So the whole process, I've got a couple of friends that have gone through it personally, and they've gotten great results. So if you do have a drinking problem, again, the first step is recognize you have it. Here's some good signs. These should be obvious signs that you have a drinking problem, right? So he got sober in 2017, have remained sober since then, and he's 31. Since he's gotten sober, he's paid off all debt, accrued while drinking, nearly finished his bachelor's starting in 2018, has 4 units left. While working full-time, lost 15 kilograms and an active recovery with AA. And particularly trying to help men who are in similar circumstances to myself. So that's good. You know, dudes making it, like there's this old saying that I've used before, allow your wounds to become your work. And that's totally in line with what you should be doing when you've dealt with some significant trauma like that. Degree in psychology, psychological science, intend to pursue a path towards clinical registration here in Australia. That's cool. So all of this happened in conjunction with me unplugging, swallowing a red pill and integrating it into my life. I don't think recovery and red pill awareness are mutually exclusive. Seeking help, swallowing my ego, and enough to be teachable, taking action, and seeking proper mentor saved my life. I can forward if interested to radio. I'll set those aside for the time being. Maybe I'll take you up on that offer for before the train wreck. Do you have no book as well verse given AA elements? Okay, so the rest of this is just kind of closing, just wants to remain anonymous. All right. So to the topic that you're proposing that I just kind of speak off to here with alcoholism and how you kind of unplugged from, you know, societal conditioning that doesn't serve you, obviously, in a blue pill conditioning. Yeah. So here's the thing with addictions that I think that is universal. Anything that can control you is an addiction. Some people have addictive personalities. Like I have a friend of mine that was an AA. He was a crack addict. He was fat. He was smoking. He was doing weed all the time, drinking. And he called himself an alcoholic when I met him, although he was in great shape. You know, we used to poke fun at him. He's a little short guy. We used to call him Pocket Hercules. And but he was serious about his addictions. And he recognized that he had an addictive personality. So I think the first thing that you need to understand is it doesn't matter if it's alcohol, if it's with spending, if it's with video games, if it's with masturbation, if it's with one-itis and an unhealthy relationship with a woman. If you have any unhealthy relationships with any vices, then that addictive personality is at some point going to be problematic for you. If you can't say no to something, if you can't make it your bitch, if you can't walk away from it for a period of time, then you're going to have a hard time with it. I don't have that much in the way of addiction personally. I think for me, if anything, it might have been video games. And I'll recognize when I spend too much time on them that it's time to either turn them off. If it's an app on my phone, just uninstall it and realize that there's far better things that you can be doing with your time that are more productive, that are going to, you know, teach you something to allow you to level up. So you've got to, as a guy, you've got to be able to get yourself in a position where you're aware of your surroundings and you understand when you've got unhealthy addictions to things that don't serve you. And you have to be able to make them your bitch. And when I say that, I mean, you have to be able to say no to them. You have to be able to walk away from them. You have to be able to Uh, let yourself know that you're not going to be controlled by whatever it is, a foreign substance, a video game, an addiction to a TV show, to shopping, to a woman, whatever the hell it is. You have to understand that you have to have the ability to walk away from just about anything in your life, with the exception of family or kids, for example. But even then, you may have an unhealthy, toxic relationship with a family member where you need to create some distance, put them at arm's length between you and that individual. And that's okay too. But it's the recognition, it's the awareness. And most guys aren't aware of these problems. Like one of the things I notice a lot of people doing whenever I'm at a store, at the gas station, there's always somebody in there buying lottery tickets, and they're not well off. You can tell by what they're wearing, the car they're driving. They're just hopeful that they can at some point win. And I think that's another unhealthy addiction, to hope. Hoping that one day your numbers will come up and your life will change. The grim reality of it is, if you have an addictive personality to bad money management and you do win $1 million, $10 million, most of those people find themselves back in the poorhouse. I don't know what the stats are, but it's within years of, the actual jackpot winning. So it's the control of your beliefs and your awareness around the addictions that I think you need to get your head around. I want to thank you for, recommending me talking about this topic. I think it's one that we don't crack that often. And I know that there's a good chunk of guys out there that have asked me to talk about things like no FAP, things with drinking, with drug addiction. What about weed, Rich? At the end of the day, guys, if you're constantly drinking, getting high, chasing women that don't have genuine attraction for you, spending your time on things that are not serving you, it's time for you to realize that you have an unhealthy addiction, an unhealthy attachment to something that is not helping you become a better version of you. And you've got to decide to let those things go. Too many guys waste far too much time, money, and resources. One of the biggest ones that I see that I feel like, is going to be talked about more often going forward is like the level of simping as well. There's a lot of guys throwing time, effort, money, and resources at women that are really just there to collect the paycheck or to collect the attention. It's one of the two things. But they'll never reciprocate. They'll never give them anything in return. And these guys think that by throwing all this stuff away, that at some point she's going to reciprocate. Some guys even get pissed off when they find out that many of these girls actually have boyfriends or they're married too. So there's a lot of ways that guys can go wrong with this. It's not just drinking, but that is one way that you can go wrong with it. Anyway, let's wrap it up on that note. Real quick, want to thank you for sponsoring the video. If you want to do so, I'll put a card up on the top right of the screen. It'll link you to this page to request a video. You just go ahead and make the payment, name, email, and the next page after this will give you an opportunity to fill out this screen exactly like how I got this email, and then suggest a topic on something you're stuck on, or if you want me to talk about something. And last but not least, if you're not a member of my men's community, card up on the top right, you're going to want to check that out. Just watch this intro video. It explains how it all works and breaks it down with the different tiers. Lots of good stuff happening there behind the paywall for guys in the community that are really wanting to put a dent in the universe and do some work on themselves. Thanks for watching today's video. Smash the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about unhealthy addictions and unhealthy attachments to things that don't serve you. And is there anything that you've had to, walk away from, or you had a hard time walking away from, and how did you do it? Leave that comment below. See you guys later. Peace.